Last year, Excellentia 2020 came to a stunning close. It set the bar as high as the skies can go. Now, the team is back. In these next 3 days, we aim to touch that very bar and take another great leap beyond. Fueled by the light of passion, of fervor, of dreams and of ambition. This is Excellentia 2021. Good morning to all. I, Arun Radhakrishnan, on behalf of Gopalan International School, do extend a very warm welcome to everyone present here as we embark on this enthralling journey we call Excellentia 2021, a literary odyssey. Prayer is the means of sustaining a faith that at times can grow weak. The power of prayer is enriching, uplifting to hear our God speak, as quoted by Greta Swan. Our turbulent life cannot be tamed without asking God for His grace and His blessings that give us a sense of peace. I would now like to invite Veda to strengthen us with a special prayer.
Thank you, Arun. I would once again invite everyone to join your hands, close your eyes, and bow in respect to the Almighty. Dear God, we thank you for gathering all of us today to this important event. May you bestow your guidance and blessings on this event so that we can enjoy and appreciate its significance in our lives. May we find gladness and satisfaction in all of our successes and even in our challenges and lessons. I ask that you would lead us to enlarge the tent of our life and give us the vision to spread forth our wings and fly in the direction you would have us go. Keep love at the forefront of our minds today and the guiding light for all we set out to accomplish and celebrate. Thank you, everyone. Now we will have our traditional auspicious lamp lighting ceremony. God, we pray for your blessings with all humility. Give us wisdom to make this world a better place. May all human beings live in harmony with nature and other forms of life. May the truth prevail. May the darkness of ignorance be swept away by the dawn of self-realization. With this lamp's ignition, I pray to God to touch new heights of our school's success, and the students here go on a long way in their lives and illuminate the name of the school. Let's hope that the light of education erases all differences in the world, erases any form of injustice and violence, and takes us on the right path. Light fades away darkness. Light symbolizes knowledge and wisdom's free will. I would now invite you all to witness the auspicious GIS lamp lighting.
शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शत्रुबुद्धिविनाशाय दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तुते दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तुते दीपज्योतिर्परब्रह्म दीपज्योतिर्जनार्दनः दीपज्योतिर्परब्रह्म दीपज्योतिर्जनार्दनः दीपो हरतु मे पापम् सन्ध्यास्तुते दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तुते दीपज्योतिर्परब्रह्म.
Thank you, everyone. I now call upon Kavya to take us to the next segment.
Dance is an expression of happiness, joy, freedom, and liberation. It's one of the holiest art forms and entails far more than explicable by words. Dance allows you to express your thoughts and emotions without having to speak. Dancers were once thought to be God's messengers because they could convey a wide range of emotions and narrate history or a story in an engaging way. Music plays an important role in bringing this art form to life. So get ready for a whirlwind of joy. Without further ado, let us prepare for a spectacular start to Excellencia. That was an absolutely wonderful and captivating dance performance by Adya Gupta of the IGCSE department. Now, we have our esteemed directors, Dr. Prabhakar and Mrs. Sunita Prabhakar. Sir, ma'am, your vision and foresight have always motivated us to experiment with new ideas and take them to a successful culmination. I would kindly request you to share a few words with us.
A hearty welcome to one and all present today. Thank you, beloved students, my dedicated and talented faculty and staff, for making this event possible. The pulsating excitement of the participants is almost tangible, even across the barriers that we have to bear these days. Our mission is to make learning fruitful and joyous. We as an institution stand together in our sacred mission of making the young minds ready for the future. Strong in mind and body, immeasurably strong in values and conviction, and decisive in bringing about a change, leaving an indelible mark of excellence wherever they go. Excellencia, therefore, was conceived with a yearning to spread joy and to learn simultaneously, to make our children formidable yet philanthropic assets of our country, individuals whom we can be proud of, and individuals who can bring dynamism in life. Let's embark on this brilliant journey without much ado. I wish all the schools and their participants the very best. Good luck, children.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am. Now, we have our principal, Dr. Sita Shankar ma'am, who has been our driving force to reckon with and inspires us every day through her work and utmost dedication to work hard and achieve our dreams. Her wisdom, creativity, and initiative have been a constant motivation for us to touch new heights with a smile on our faces. Ma'am, I kindly request you to share a few thoughts with us.
Good morning. I welcome you to our annual literary fest, Excellencia, a Literary Odyssey. It is my privilege to welcome you all to the opening ceremony of the Excellencia, a virtual, one-of-its-kind inter-school literary fest. At Gopalan International School, Excellencia is a word that suggests possibilities, opportunities, creativity and collaboration. The 3-day literary fest is an opportunity to express ourselves and learn in the best spirit of friendly competition. It is a time to enjoy the splash of immense talent on the vast canvas spread before you. P.G. Wodehouse once said, "There is no surer foundation for a beautiful friendship than a mutual taste in literature." The actual experience of Excellencia is the exchange of ideas, and the establishment of new relationships and friendship that last forever. It allows us to think beyond our daily sphere of influence and think of the world beyond our immediate surroundings. It expands our minds, gives us a greater capacity to love, and enables us to push ourselves to new standards of excellence. Let the competitions begin in the true spirit of sportsmanship and for the love of literature. I take this opportunity to welcome all the participating teams from different schools across the country and the globe. I wish you all success and great learning. God bless.
Thank you so much for your beautiful words, ma'am. That was indeed motivating. We are so honored and privileged to have you amongst us. Now, we have Arun to introduce our guest of honor.
Thank you, ma'am, for motivating all of us with your thoughts. The most inspiring of teachers are those that inspire by example. No less can be said of our distinguished guest of honor, Mr. Shantanu Dattagupta. With his years of penning down carefully constructed sentences that drench our hearts in awe, we feel most delighted and honored to have him joining us here today. A very warm welcome to you, sir. As a man of such prolific experience, we have a lot to learn from you. On that note, presenting an ever-enlightening video of the interactions between Shantanu sir and our students.
Yeah. Good morning, our respected guest, Mr. Shantanu Dattagupta, Principal Ma'am Dr. Sita Shankar, and Mrs. Dipanatha Chatterjee, Head of the Department English, and dear students. And I'm extremely delighted to have Mr. Shantanu Dattagupta, Head of Publishing Scholastic India, with us today. He's a passionate book lover, for all of us to know, and since 2007, he has worked in children's publishing. His love of reading landed him a job where he could truly express himself. And he's extremely passionate about books and their power to change. He believes that every experience builds character and hopes that everybody finds a calling where they can express themselves creatively and passionately. And sir, it is our pleasure and privilege to cordially invite you as a guest of honor to our Literary Fest, Excellencia 2021. And our mission is to encourage the young generation to be avid readers and make them alive to the plethora of possibilities in learning the 21st century skills. Thank you.
It is my honor and privilege to welcome Mr. Shantanu to this interaction today. It has always been GIS endeavor to make such things possible, showcase our students and get them closer to the field of literature. And this is one such endeavor of ours, Excellencia 2021. And without much ado, I would ask Ms. Dipanatha to start the interaction. And thank you so much, Mr. Shantanu, for obliging us and for taking time out and being here for us and children.
Good morning, sir. We have a nail-biting excitement today, actually, and this knowing you and having heard you speak, I know we are going to learn a lot and enjoy a lot. Only thing I'm scared, ma'am, we might just outrun the time because of the people present in this room today. So, sir, I would request you, would you give us permission for the children to go ahead and interact with you?
Yes, absolutely. Please, I'm looking forward to any questions and discussions and all other such fun stuff. So please, ma'am,
Yes.
and all yours.
Yes. Good morning, sir. We're so glad to have you at our institution today. If you don't mind, I would like to ask you a question, which is, should we read books according to our preferences, as sometimes our likings restrict us, or should we indulge in reading anything that crosses our path?
You won't really become a lover of books and a passionate reader unless and until you first start off with reading what you like. When I was younger, I was not a reader. In school, I did read a little bit, but never really the things that other people were reading Definitely not what the librarian would suggest. I would not read in the school times. What I ended up reading was a lot of simple comic books and superhero stuff. I really enjoyed those things. Reading has to be a pleasurable activity. It should not be related to learning something, or there should not be some outcome from it, and all of those sorts of things. So if you read what you really like reading, then automatically with time you will start exploring more things to read which are probably not in your comfort zone or not in your interest zone earlier. So nowadays, for instance, yes, I read. Part of my job also involves reading picture books, right? But at the same time, in my free time, I find myself reading more non-fiction these days. I never thought I'd read non-fiction, but I'm reading non-fiction these days. So the more you read what you like, the more you fall in love with reading, and then you're okay to experiment with other things. Things like reading should have any boundary. That's the whole point of reading, because it has no boundaries. It takes you to different worlds. It gives you life experiences. You will meet more personalities in books than you will ever meet in real life, and I can guarantee you that, because you're not going to be meeting so many people in your life. You at best in your entire life you'll have 20 really close friends. 20 people cannot give you that viewpoint of the world and life and things like that, but 20 books which you'll easily read in a year will give you much more. It's the breadth and the depth is phenomenal. It makes you think. So that's my short but convoluted answer.
And of course, what you said, that we meet more characters, right? And that is why perhaps we develop empathy also, because we see more number of characters, the dynamics, the interactions, and maybe then we use that prototype on somebody we meet. So it is easier to judge people, to understand people. That was really, really a great reminder, sir. Thank you so much. I'll introduce you to the next child now.
Now, since we are students, we know that academics are an integral part of our life, and that should not prohibit us from the habit of reading books. So I wanted to ask, could you suggest a few ways in which how we can manage our time with both academics and reading?
Time is always going to be the enemy. Okay. You're never going to have enough time. So, it's absolutely critical to include reading which is not academic during that time. And how do we do this? Simple. You have to compartmentalize your day. And compartmentalizing your day is going to be a lifelong task. If you get that habit of organizing your day from now, and believe me, there will be distractions as you progress into your life. If you learn how to plan your day from school itself, which you all are doing, and I commend you all, because being at home for a year and a half like this is not easy for anybody. Same way you have a timetable in school. This period is this period, this period is XYZ. There's a reason for that. So the same way you have to find little pockets, steal some pockets of time in your day, to read, so that doesn't hamper your studies and things like that. But remember one thing, that the more you read, and this is not academic or learning related, school related reading, the more you read, the more you're going to gain insight into the world, into people, into culture, to personality, into so many other things, which actually you will remember when you think about our conversation 10 years later. Remember this, okay? 10 years.
I think I definitely agree with you, Mr. Shantanu, because when I was growing up too, I always had this dilemma of whether I should give so much time to academics, or should I steal those little bit pockets of time to read. And I would do that, compartmentalize. One of the things that I would definitely do is I would read. Shantanu said, I would love to read fiction. And then I would read a portion of a fiction and stop exactly where something momentous is going to happen in the book. All right. And I would tell myself that if I finish one chapter of my textbook thoroughly, then I get to read the next part of the, fiction that I left. So that would be, a reward for me. So that's something that I would do when I was, growing up. It's a very thin line. There were times when I thought, okay, let me finish this book and then and that would never happen because the book would be some 300 pages long and I would spend the entire night reading the book. But very true that you need to find that little bit of time to read every day, and then it becomes a lifestyle.
And sir, I cannot tell you how grateful I am, because tell you why. Because you brought out so many values. From what I could identify, you inculcated confidence, self-control, which is so important. I mean, you can't organize yourself without having self-control, right? You have to impose certain right or wrong on yourself in order to be something, something of a change. Right. So I am so grateful to you. I hope, children, you understood what sir, with what magnitude he told you the value added education that you can have.
What role does reading and writing play in honing 21st century skills?
I'm going to ask you a question back before I answer your question. What do you mean by 21st century skills?
According to me, 21st century skills include empathy, compassion, problem-solving thinking, as it has a huge spectrum.
You see, empathy and understanding and love and blah, 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 all of those things that you hear about and you see about on social media and, self-care and da. What do you think? These are 21st century problems. They're not 21st century problems. These are not 21st century challenges. Dear Diary, you would write. So Marcus Aurelius would go back to his camp and do Dear Diary, and he'd write down his thoughts. Now, what are there in those thoughts? He would say things like, what does it mean to have integrity? What does it mean to be kind to someone? How can I be just to my subjects? How can I be fair to my children and my heirs? How can I be a good person? So these are essentially 250 BCE skills, right? Which he was trying to instill amongst himself and remind himself of that. So really, if you see the quest for peace of mind, of being just, of being kind, of having integrity, of being decent, respectful to others. These are skills that we are trying to constantly hone and trying to master for thousands of years. And the 21st century is really no different. You see, it's really, really no different. So I feel that, one more thing, remember, the story is meant to tell you one very important thing, that time is not linear. Time is circular. So it's really no different. Remember that the 21st century skills that are required are not going to be, you have to be a coding master or you have to be a this or that. These are all technical things. Skills are the same, the human skills. How I talk to you, how I treat you, what do I do in my personal time? How am I creative? And when I say creative, I mean to use that word in a very deep sense, not by saying that by doing drawing or anything like that. When I say creative, I mean to be introspective, to think about what am I doing is right? Is it wrong? How can I know more about things? It's to have a questioning mind. A creative mind is a questioning mind. So these skills are absolutely essential. And I'd say that books, of course, the answer is there. They're always going to be there. There's a reason why, even though so much technology is around us, we are still interacting with books. It might seem like it is less, but when you want to go and look for something that is measurable and has depth to it, you always find yourself going to an object which is physical in nature and holding on to it. You see? So, sorry for my long-winded digression, but I felt that, to give you some context, it's important to know that, the human beings 2000 years ago were the same. They fought and killed and raped and pillaged and everything the same. Even now it's the same. This not changed because we are not willing to, each individual is not willing to imbibe those very basic human skills for the betterment of all. Yes, please.
Students spend more time on social media and academics and don't read as much. How do you think we can inculcate reading habits in our peers?
It's difficult for people who, like yourselves, who are digital natives, right? Who have grown up with technology around them. So, for example, when you want to look for something, you Google it. Like I saw the birth of the internet. Back then, we had to dial in to use our phones to go onto the internet. But I think that every new technology or a new sort of, I would not call it fad. Let's just keep it as a new technology. It has a time when it really shoots up and becomes really popular. Okay, so nowadays, yes, if you want information, yes, you can go online. But you're also seeing a lot of news about, oh, well, I can go online, I can get the information really easily, but how do I know if that information is right or wrong? Is it true or false? Is it fake news? Where do I turn to get some sort of validation on the genuineness of that information? So I believe that, there will be an equilibrium that's going to happen between how we interact and use technology and how we slowly wean ourselves from that technology of certain things. Somewhere I read that, the amount of information that is thrown at us every day that we can see on our phones these days is equivalent to about 5 years of information if I was someone who was born 200 years ago in a day. That's why you feel, after a point, oh my God, I'm tired of this. Because our mind loves to be distracted. We love distractions. And then what do? You try to slow things down. Everything has become so easy. So we get into this rut of constantly gratifying ourselves instantly. Now, when you start becoming like that, reading is also very similar. You feel, oh my God, why should I read this book? Yeah, I'm sure there's some Instagrammer who has got, like 3-4 swipes like this you do, and they'll give you the entire, short form of the story so you can understand it. But what is the point of doing that? If you're saving so much time by doing so many things online, or getting information or reading, then what do you do with the rest of the time that you have? How do you develop as an individual? My only question for social media is how you ask yourself questions after this call, when you're introspecting with yourself or your family. How has social media helped you? Besides giving you entertainment and seeing what whatever some celebrity is up to, or what Neymar is doing, or what Messi is doing, or whatever, like that kind of a thing. How is it contributing in any way? So now they're turning to, no, I think I should read self-help books. It's strange, isn't it? The people are now starting to read more. I read a survey in between that people have started picking up books again. Now, why is that? Because there is a sense of security in a book. And why is that sense of security there in a book? Because you see, a book is a perfectly evolved object. The way a book looks and the way a book feels has not changed in 1,000 years. Because it does exactly what it is meant to do and nothing else. Here it is, you open it like this, open the pages, you want to read it, it's another human being who is probably maybe dead, but is talking to you from the afterlife. Do you have any object like that? You see, here's your Harry Potter reference again. That Horcrux, that diary of Tom Riddle, was essentially Tom Riddle's ghost or whatever, right? Talking through that, and it was animated. But think about your books that you read, Jane Austen and all of these. These are people who are dead. Dead people are talking to you. Name another device like that is there in the world right now that can give you that wisdom. See, we have got the wisdom of thousands of millennia in those things. So you will definitely find that, retreating to books, especially I feel in this time of social media, books that you like, books that you've grown up with, if you start reading those, then you will get into that habit of reading again. Reading is a habit. You can lose the habit and you can use the practice. It needs practice. And of course, focus.
Thank you, sir.
I hope I made some sense. I don't know, I just rambled on.
No, sir, you didn't ramble. What you did was, children, if you've noticed, sir has brought in a very important paradox of while things are very easy, life is getting more and more difficult. Right. And we are caught in this paradox, and even when people are watching Netflix, sir, and the children also, if I ask any of us, what did I get out of it? What was the moral? What was the message? They just lose track of that. So any knowledge or assimilation cannot be flimsy. Right. Thank you so much, sir. And I will, the final, I know we are getting greedier and greedier. But
No, please. I just wanted to add before the final question is that, because I just remembered it as we were talking about this, and ma'am, when you brought up this Netflix thing and the learning, you see, guys, remember one thing: when you're watching something, understand what your brain is doing. Your brain is not doing anything, right? Because when you're watching something, it is just light or some images flickering, coming into your eyes, going into your brain. Momentarily, the brain is processing it. Great entertainment, all of that kind of a thing. The brain is actually not doing any processing. But when you're reading, the brain is doing processing, comprehending, using the eyes, the optical nerve. All of these things are being used, which is why, notice, if you read for half an hour, you will feel far more tired than watching 6 hours of binge watching Netflix. Brain is having to do a lot of work. Brain doesn't like to do work. It's having to do the work of looking at the words, processing. Okay, this is one sentence. Okay, I have to now read the words and I have to put the sentence together. Then I have to make sense of the sentence, and then I have to make sense of the paragraph, and then I have to make sense of the chapter, and then I have to make sense of the story. So that's a lot of work that the brain requires. So it doesn't like to do that. But you have to make it do that. Sure.
Thank you, sir. So, if we should aspire to be writers, what techniques should we exactly focus on?
First and foremost, if you want to be a writer, you have to be a reader. The truth of being a writer is that A, you have to be a voracious reader. B, you have to be a voracious writer. And when I say writer, I mean sit down and write every single day. You will write and write and write, but not all of it will be published. So all of them, have a particular time set in the day to read, research, to write, reading a lot, writing a lot, having an open mind, not being a bigot, not being unkind. See, again, notice how all the good qualities of reading books and that come into you automatically starts reflecting into how you will bring out your writing as well. So having an open mind and being open to different cultures is supremely important. Read a lot and read widely and write every single day. I do it even now, that? Like Marcus Aurelius. I write down everything. I'll show you. See, second if I can get it out. I won't show you the contents of it because so I have, and I don't write this little diary of mine, okay? And here I write a lot of my ideas. I write down my ideas of things. And sometimes if I'm feeling like doodling, I do a little bit of doodles and I put down my ideas, right? Then sometimes I write poetry also, which is all nonsense.
Okay, sir. So my next question would be, how is reading a formidable ally for life skills?
What are your thoughts on this? I want to know your thoughts.
Okay, sir. So, I'm a huge fan of short stories like O. Henry, especially O. Henry's short stories. And whenever I read his short stories, it expresses it expresses a lot of feelings in it, and it shows you. For example, I take Gift of the Magi. It shows what exactly love is. It's a very small thing. Yes.
Some point in a book there comes a chapter where the main character or side character, whatever, has to make a choice. If the choices a character makes in a novel helps us understand the value of certain things that we don't usually think about.
Me, the most important thing of reading, this is to answer, yes, it is to answer your question about life skills and all of that. But you see, the most important thing about reading is that it's a reminder when you read and when you encounter characters that are good, bad, ugly, funny, all of those things, or memorable. Let's put it that way. It's a constant reminder that the world and the people in different countries are really not that different from you and me. No other species on this planet is divided by countries or language or anything like that. Really, physiologically and in the day-to-day problems, we are all the same. Guys, remember, the only thing is always about perspective. You will gain more perspective when you read more. You will gain more perspective then once you read more. Tomorrow when you're working somewhere in some top company or whatever, and you're traveling abroad, you will know exactly what the customs and cultures of those countries are. Right? And reading is essentially, and I will conclude at this, reading is essentially one of those invisible glues that needs to get more marketing attention, because it's essentially what makes us feel all connected to each other. When we are all connected to look at the world through eyes that are not yours. when you're looking at reading a book, say a travelogue about some guy's journey in the Australian outback. Large part of Australia is desert. This guy is going there, it's his travelogue. Imagine you're seeing so many different little things. Yes, you can see it on Discovery Channel and National Geographic, but it's not the same, right? Because it's like, it's half an hour and it's all cut and edited, and it's like then there are 10,000 ads in between, and it's kind of very impersonal. But when you're reading something about something like that, it's a very, very different experience. And you do feel, I personally always, when I read, I feel much more, I feel as if I'm that character in every book.
Thank you so much, sir. You talked about perception, you talked about adaptability.
What a riveting discussion this was, and so memorable, and it was a trip back to my school times, and how I felt about reading. And even today, when I think back of the things that I have done, the best things have come from the books. The best experiences that I've had is all from the books. The feeling of learning something new, the feeling of going to different places. You need not travel all around the world. The book is your, it's a flying carpet. It will take you wherever you would want to go. So with that, thank you so much, Mr. Shantanu, for spending this 1 hour with us. It didn't feel like 1 hour. In fact, we've been together for an hour now. and if I allow my children, they will speak to you for the entire day. But I know that we all have our promises to keep. So therefore, thank you so much. And I really thank all the children today for this wonderful discussion we had. I hope you gathered something that you can use in your academic life or in your life just like that, to understand what it is to read books and what you can gain from that. Thank you, Dipanita ma'am, for being such a wonderful moderator and making this possible. With that, I wish all of you a great day, and looking forward to the success of Excellencia 21.
We thank you, sir, for so graciously spending your valuable time with our students, that we may all absorb even a tiny fraction of your awe-inspiring knowledge and wisdom. To keep this train of enthusiasm going, let us now welcome back Arushi to introduce our illustrious panel of judges.
I am exhilarated to announce that all of you finally get to meet our judges for this event. Experience comes with years of hard work, and with that experience, we gain the ability to guide others in similar paths such as ours. All judges arrive with an objective, and that is to inspire us to do well in the competition. Please join me in welcoming these acclaimed individuals to share their thoughts with us today.
Hi, little ones. How are you doing? It's Excellencia time, and there are going to be a lot of exciting competitions. It's time to win some prizes, isn't it?
A wonderful platform for kids to showcase their talents and creativity.
However, today literature has become a dying art. But there's a good news. Gopalan International School is conducting a literary fest, Excellencia 2021. And I'm very happy that the school is doing.
Dear children, imagine if nothing was chronicled for us. For generations, people would wonder, how did it all happen? For sure we wouldn't know the mojo in written literature. Characters would not beckon us. We would not be enticed to a land of fantasy. Always believe that there is something undeniably special about reading.
I just want to say that enjoy the contest to the fullest and give your best, because the results are not in your hand. but what is in your hand is the hard work.
I wish all the participants the very best, and please remember to have fun while you're taking part in it, and don't worry too much about the result. The main thing is have.
To make sure that students from preschool to grade 12 are participating and are competing with their peers from across the country. All these events and activities will give these creative young minds a platform to showcase their talent, hone their creative abilities, and at the same time
Literature is very close to life. Whatever you read as written by the author is something he or she has picked up from their experiences, their personal experiences, or it is picked up from something that they have observed, or maybe it's about something that they have read and it has impacted them. So you see, literature definitely mirrors what happens in your life.
I would like to express our heartfelt gratitude for our illustrious judges. Thank you so much for putting a spring in our step and making us competition ready. Over to Kavya, the floor is all yours.
Stage is all set, the pulsating excitement is on. Let us all plunge into this brilliant event with passion and endeavour. Now, without any further ado, I would like to invite our Cultural Secretary Pranav Sanjay to flag off Excellencia 2021 on a high note.
I, Pranav Sanjay, Cultural Head of GIS, officially declare the Excellencia 2021-22 open. I wish all the schools and participants a fun and an engaging time. Thank you.
Let us make sure that all our participants participate comfortably and with our support. In order to do that, we must follow these norms. Please remain on mute when others are speaking and keep your videos off unless you are instructed otherwise. Your background must be neat and tidy. You must always speak with an optimum degree of politeness, and use of language should always be at par with good etiquette. Polite queries are always welcome, and we will try our level best to solve any issues.
Be alert of the order of events and join the events on time. Only join the meetings for the events in which you are taking part. Please do refrain from sharing the meeting links with anyone outside the competition. The judges' verdict will be final, and we would be very grateful if you adhere by it. We thoroughly encourage a positively competitive and friendly spirit among your fellow competitors.
And lastly, and most importantly, have fun. All the very best to all the participants. Thank you.